Today we're going to learn how to make a chart in Google Spreadsheets. Of course, you have to be signed in to your Google account and access your Google Drive. So once you're there and you have some data collected already, we're going to be using the data we collected during our natural selection lab the other day, and we're going to help analyze that data by creating a chart like this one. So first, you're going to go to your data. I'm going to select some of your data. And once you've selected your data, you can go to this Insert tab, scroll down to Chart, and then that pops this Chart Editor window. Now, the Chart Editor just creates a random selection of colors and just randomly chooses a chart type. So we're going to go back and edit that to make sure that that explains our data in a way that makes sense. Right now, it really doesn't. Green is labeled as blue, and blue is labeled as yellow, and black is labeled as green, and the only one that really makes sense color-wise is the red. So we definitely want to change the color. We're also going to want to change the chart title from chart title to something that talks about the data that we are examining. And since the horizontal columns here doesn't really make any sense for the data that we're looking at, we're going to go ahead and change that. So we've got the different chart types that we can select here. There's more that we could look at if we wanted to, but I like this one, this column chart with the vertical columns. This makes a little bit more sense since we were counting the beads that we selected. We can see the different column heights based on the different numbers of beads that we collected. Now we want to customize our colors, so we're going to click on this Customize tab. The first thing it's going to let us do is change our chart title. And we want to change this to, say, the collected beads, because that was the data that we selected to create this chart. We want to make sure that we understand what we're looking at when we come back and look at this later. Now we can change all kinds of things on here. We're going to scroll past most of these features because all we really care about to help this chart make sense to us is the column colors. So this one's already selected green, and as you can see it's labeled blue right now. That doesn't really make much sense, and it's going to make it harder to think through this data. So we're going to select green for green. And we're going to change blue now. So we're going to change blue from yellow to blue. And black to black. And then we have to make a decision on clear here. I'm going to go with a gray color because that shows me that it's still visible here on the chart, but it's a little less obvious, just like the clear beads themselves were. Now, we're going to click Insert, and that's going to put it on our spreadsheet. Once it's loaded, we'll be able to move it around to wherever we choose. I'll go ahead and put it here so we can still see it. You can see we didn't move this chart to an ideal position. It's still covering some of our data. So we're not worried about that right now. We're just worried about how we can edit this. Now let's say I decide I don't like this title. I can click on that and I can change it, and I can say, now I'm going to call this the dead organisms, because really that's what the collected beads represented in our lab. And that way I can have a better idea of what I'm thinking about there and how that will affect my conclusions based on this evidence that I've presented here in this chart. So luckily we're in Google Docs, so that's already saved, and we can go back to looking at our data in other ways.